What do you think these miniatures were inspired by? Ghostface, Grim Reaper, or Nazgul from Lord of the Rings? Well, today we're going to unbox, build and review these new miniatures from Wargame exclusive. And death is coming for you.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, here we are again reviewing some Wargame exclusive Necrocyborg miniatures. I've previously reviewed the Necron Immortal / Deathmarks conversion set. I really enjoyed building and painting those miniatures. I also converted a General Grievous styled miniature from Wargame exclusive into a Hexmark Destroyer. Again, I had a lot of fun with that project. I've reviewed a lot of these miniatures on the channel previously, and I've got links to those reviews in the description below. However, today we are reviewing the new Nazgul Warriors, which gives the game away. These were inspired by Lord of the Rings. However, when I see these miniatures, I also think of Ghostface and the Grim Reaper, of course. You know, a big cape with a staff with a big scythe on it is, you know, pretty universal in the fantasy genre. Either way, I think these miniatures are going to be pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to building and painting them. And if you like Necron videos, then please subscribe, help me get to 30,000 subscribers. Hopefully we'll do it this year. Right, hit the like button and let's do it. Okay, so these miniatures here are 3D printed. They're very high quality 3D prints. Wargame exclusive also do resin cast miniatures as well as 3D printed miniatures. All of the miniatures which I've had from Wargame exclusive, both resin and 3D printed, have been amazing. These guys have, of course, these robes on them, and to make them look like material, they've actually got little etchings in the material to give that cloth effect. Now, I have had a few comments on my previous videos where people are saying that the 3D print isn't very good because you can see the 3D print lines. Well, you can't. Trust me, those lines are there on purpose. It's etching to make the material look like cloth. They are printed with modelling in mind. Most of the cleanup is actually underneath the miniature, underneath the cloak. There's one or two bits and pieces here and there, but most of it's at the bottom. Also, the bases which they are supplied with, the cleanup is on the bottom of the base. It's not on the sides of the base like some of the Games Workshop bases are, where you can see the notch even after you've cleaned it off. With this, it's on the bottom. However, of course, there is some cleanup to do, so I did use my hobby knife and also my little file, and I cleaned the material up, ready for building. Now, before I built the miniatures, now I don't know if you have to do this or not. You probably don't for 3D printed miniatures, but you certainly do for resin. So I always get into the habit of doing it, and that is I washed the miniatures. I put them into a little tub with some warm soapy water, let them soak, and then used a toothbrush and just cleaned them up, let them dry, ready for building. And the reason I did this is because sometimes you get residue on the miniatures and then the paint doesn't always take. I've had it in the past where I'm trying to paint something and the paint doesn't take, so now I like to wash my miniatures. Okay, so on to the building of these miniatures, and to be fair, there's not much to build. You have the complete body section, and then you have the gun, which has both hands already attached to it. There are 5 different sculpts in the box. Of course, I've got 2 boxes. I'm building 10 miniatures. Now, on my previous videos, when I built the Immortals / Deathmarks, I did have a bit of an issue with the fitting of the miniatures. It was doable, it was okay, but yes, they didn't fit exactly as they should have done. I had to cut away at some of the model to actually get them to fit. So I was very interested, as the actual arms are supplied with these miniatures, whether these would fit, and some of them do. I say some of them because, yeah, a couple of them went straight in, but the others didn't. What I did is I took one gun and I tried it in all of the bodies until I got one to fit. the best I could. And then I got another gun and I did exactly the same. Some of them were slightly off, but not to the extent that I had to cut away at the model too much. All I had to do was trim down the wrists of the hand a little bit, maybe just trim some of the side of the hand off just to get it to slot into place. Nothing too drastic, nothing too major, and pretty simple to do. Now, one cool feature about these guns, which, well, let's talk about that now. These guns, of course, look like Gauss Flayers, or at least they look like Flayers to me, because they have obviously that single one rod. Now, there are no Gauss Reaper options at the moment. I don't know if Wargame exclusive will do a Gauss Reaper option for these miniatures, but of course you can play it however you want. I mean, they're not even GW miniatures, so if you want to say they've got Gauss Reaper weapons, they can have Gauss Reaper weapons. Just play what you like. You're not going to be taking these to a Games Workshop tournament to play them, so who cares? However, the thing I actually wanted to talk about with the guns is how cool they are with the blades. So they've got this really long scythe blade, some of them pointing down and some of them pointing up, which is like really cool. The actual hands are also in slightly different positions. So what I did is, when I went to build my second set of 5, is I made sure that each of the guns were different from the guns that I'd glued in for the first set. So when the unit is a set of 10, the bodies and guns will all look different. So where I had a gun with a scythe pointing downwards on one body, I then used the opposite gun on that body just to make the models look different. It worked really well. I really like the look of these miniatures. However, I decided not to glue the guns into position for painting purposes. I thought it would be a lot easier to paint these guns not glued to the miniatures. I also didn't glue them to the base. Again, I just thought it would be easier to paint them. And painting is what I did next. I really enjoyed painting these miniatures, and I have to say they were really easy to paint. I painted these just before Christmas in a couple of weeks. It was my last project of 2024, so watch out for the painting tutorial, which will be up very soon. In the meantime, here are all of the other Wargame exclusive videos for you to watch next.